Hi, welcome back to the channel. Michelle, and today I'm sharing my mid-year homeschool budget update. So on my channel, I do like to share my homeschool budget, usually during the beginning of the year, at the end of the year, kind of show you where we're at. So if you're new to my channel, I have a 10-year-old who's in 5th grade, a 7-year-old who's doing first, second grade work, and a 3, almost 4-year-old doing preschool level work. And this is our 3rd year of homeschooling. So I like to share my budget videos and specifically how I'm spending my money when it comes to homeschooling, because I think there's a wide array of income being represented on social media, and I really like to show that there are people living within budgets, that they are people that have to make intentional choices with their curriculum because they don't have a never-ending budget. So we are a single income family, that is by choice. But that means we have to be very careful with the money we have. I do have a budget video, kind of our household expenses, how that works. But I have to be, like I said, very intentional about what I spend our money on, because we don't have a bunch of extra money to spend on curriculum or resources for homeschooling. Now, a lot of people will come on here and tell you that you can homeschool really cheaply, and I think in the early elementary years that's possible, but I've noticed, especially as my children are getting older, my oldest is 10 in 5th grade, we're looking at middle school next year, things tend to get pricier the older they get, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's cheap. You're going to spend some money. I suggest spending your money wisely, and how I do that is I make a budget. I prioritize what I'm going to spend money on. I do have a couple curriculum I know that are a little bit more high priced, and with that, if I purchase those things, I know I have to, that will affect the budget in other areas of our homeschool. So I'm really quick gonna take you on my computer, because I do Excel spreadsheets for all my budgeting. That's just how I am. I'm type A. I was a business major in college, and I really enjoy spreadsheets. I really enjoy making graphs. I'm that type of person, but it also really helps with tracking, because I've been able to track my spending since we started homeschooling 3 years ago. So I can really see the trend of how my spending is, but it also keeps me accountable. It's very easy to overspend when you're homeschooling, to buy this little resource or that little resource over here, or to be influenced by social media and be like, ooh, this is the new shiny thing, I want this. When you live within a budget, that can be difficult, and I do have a video I'll link up above talking about what do you do when you can't afford a curriculum, because that has happened to me many times. So check out that video if you kind of want to see how I navigate that, but I thought it'd be a great time to show you how we're doing. Like I said, we're halfway through the year. How's my budget looking? Am I on track? How much have I spent? So I'm going to turn you guys around, take you to my Excel spreadsheet. So this is my 2023-2024 homeschool budget. As you can see here, I have previous year's budgets on here as well, and I really like to be able to track, like I said, my spending. Especially my first year homeschooling, it was really good to see what kind of money I'd be spending. Also, I think it shows that over the years, I've become better and more intentional on the choices I'm making. So although, like I said, I think the overall price is increasing because my oldest, the curriculum I'm buying her, you'll see here how much I've spent. My first year I spent $1,485. My second year I spent $1,313, and currently I'm at $1,105. And although I'm buying more expensive curriculum, why that's going down is because I'm making more intentional choices as my homeschooling journey continues. But also a really nice thing about the curriculum I'm purchasing too is I'm mindful that I can pass it down. As you'll see when I go through my 7-year-old's budget, a lot of her stuff is zeroed because I have access to the things my older child used. So I don't use a lot of consumables that can't be passed down. So that is a money savings tip there. But let's go to the 2023-2024 budget. So I have my 10/11-year-old, she'll be 11 in a couple months, in the purple, my 6-7-year-old in pink, she's currently 7, and then I haven't put a specific preschool line item for my preschooler. I do have what I've spent on him so far, but like I said, he's my 3rd. He's getting a lot of things that are already handed down, so I don't feel the need to buy a lot of new things for him, which is really nice. So let's start with my soon-to-be 11-year-old, my 5th grader. So obviously my biggest expense I've spent so far this year is IEW Level 2, Level A. I do have a review on that. I'll link it up above for you to see if you want to see my thoughts on that, but I think it's worth the price I'm paying for it. Dimensions 4, I had to pick up the next level for her. Lightning Literature, this is just the curriculum, the $90, the teacher manual, and the student book. And then I do put a line item in for the books because I do like having all the readers, although I can get some of them from the library. Our first year doing it, there was some difficulty getting some books in time, so I just like having those books on hand. And again, I go through thrift books, so they're only $3, $4, $5 a piece, really cheap because they're used. Handwriting Without Tears and Sadler Vocab. You can see Sadler Vocab was zeroed out because I had a thrift books credit and I was able to get a used copy of our Sadler Vocab. Again, it didn't have any writing in it, it was just an older version. So that was, again, a money savings tip. So my 7-year-old, what I've spent so far, and you can see the yellow. The yellow is things I've already bought. The things not highlighted, like All About Spelling Level 3, is not highlighted because I haven't bought it yet. So you can see the things I haven't bought in this category right here. Although I did get an email that the January 21st, I believe, All About Spelling Level 3 is coming out, the color edition, so I will be picking that up. But it's good to forecast my spending as well because it helps me budget and realize what I need to have available. Because I don't have a separate homeschool account. I don't have money to pull from. I roll it into our regular monthly budget because I'm not one of those people that makes a bulk curriculum purchase. I spread it out, as you can see over here. I spread it out because it's easier on my budget, on my income, that instead of making that $1,000 purchase in a matter of 1 or 2 months, I can spread it out. My kids don't usually need everything right away. When we finish a level, we purchase the next type of situation. We year-round homeschool, so we have the opportunity to be able to spread that out, and it does help with budget and expenses. So my 7-year-old, you can see here, Dimensions 2, that is the only thing I'll need to purchase for the remainder of the year because my 5th grader started homeschooling in 3rd grade, but I had her start with Dimensions 2 because there were some math gaps there. So I have all the teacher guides for Dimensions 2, Dimensions 3, Dimensions 4. So I'm starting to see that, like I said, cost savings of my younger daughter coming up, that I don't have to buy the teacher guides. I will have to just buy the workbooks and the textbook, which you can see are $13.70, not expensive. So eliminating that teacher guide because I have it on hand is really helpful. And again, my 7-year-old does core knowledge, language arts. She does grade 2 for her reading comprehension vocabulary. We do the hardcore trophies books for just generalized reading practice. She has her Handwriting Without Tears. But you can see core knowledge is zeroed out because it's a completely free curriculum. You can check out my channel if you want. I'm not sponsored, not affiliated. I just really enjoy the curriculum. I think it's well written. I think it's academically sound, and it's free resource. You just do have to put a little effort into it when you use it, but I love that. So, and she's also using All About Reading for language arts, and luckily there's another homeschooler that we swap things back and forth. When her kids are done with something, she lets me use it. When my kids aren't using something, I let her use the teacher guides or the books or whatever it might be. So that is a really good cost savings that, leaning on your other homeschoolers, if they're not currently using something, can you borrow it? Can you use it? It's really helpful to have that homeschooling community. So you can see here, I'm not spending a lot on her. The bulk of my, as you can see last year, the bulk of my spending is really aimed at my older child here. So I do like making the graphs there to kind of organize and see where I'm spending my money. And then I do have group subjects. So we had our history curriculum. We had the books that go with that. We had geography, the books I bought for that. Some different resources, Mint and Bloom's history, RAD history books, so our social justice unit. I bought some Mint and Bloom studies a couple months ago, their Valentine study, their Edgar Allan Poe study, just a plethora of it, great resource, again, check them out. All digital. Hoffman Academy was one of those that is definitely more expensive. And I was really disappointed to see that it increased in price even more from what I paid. I bought the yearly subscription. So I'll have to weigh that for next year and see if that's something I'm willing to pay, although I think it's really helpful. It's worked really well for us. Am I willing to pay that amount? I don't know. I'll have to decide on that later. Something you can see that is not in here that I haven't purchased yet is the Something Fish Review book. This is, again, put out by, I believe, All About Spelling, something I'm looking into purchasing. And then I do have preschool math is the only thing I purchased for my 3, almost 4-year-old. It was a Kate Snow, the little preschool math at home. That's the only thing I purchased from him because I have so many resources from my other 2 kids. I don't need to go buy a bunch of stuff. And again, that's a money savings tip. Are there a lot of new preschool and kindergarten resources out there that weren't out there when I was doing it with my 10-year-old? Yes, but that doesn't mean they're better or prettier. It just means it's another resource. You don't have to buy the next best thing. That's my opinion. Philosophy, bought that out there at books. And then something I did purchase for use in the future, which I don't often do. I don't purchase a lot ahead of time because, again, I want to be mindful in my budget. And I like to see when we finish where we are before I buy things for next year. But I found this on eBay because it's something I really wanted to use for maybe 7th or 8th grade. I'm leaning towards 8th grade. Oak Meadow Civics, and it was $73, so I picked it up then, but I don't do a lot of pre-buying for years ahead. As you can see, I have a spot here for subscriptions. I was originally going to do Little Justice Leaders subscription box for social justice, but then I found Mint and Bloom's Power of the People, and I decided to go in that direction. So I don't buy any other subscriptions. I don't do, the Kiwi Crate or any of those things. My kids did get gifted that from their grandparents this past year, but I am not a subscription box person. It'll be something that just piles up. So I just don't buy it. I know we're not going to get to it. But like you can see here, my grand total is $1,105.76. What I project to spend before we hit summer curriculum time is $1,206, which is about $100 difference, which you can see comes between the All About Spelling and the textbook and workbook. So you can see I'm not spending a big chunk of money in the second half of my year. I've been able to spread a lot of this out over a course of a few months because, again, they're not starting exactly at this point because we're year round. It's easy to kind of plug in those numbers when I need them to be. So that is where the budget currently is. As you can see, like I said, I'm spending more money on certain curriculum, but my overall cost has gone down because of the things I've mentioned. I'm more intentional about the things I'm buying. I am passing things down to children and able to reuse some materials, and that is really helpful. But knowing this number is really helpful for my budget, especially because I do plan with my household budget. I have about 6 months out my budget listed of what's going in, expenses, things like that. It gives me an idea of where I can plug in some of these larger numbers so it doesn't demolish our monthly budget and just cause issues with that. But as you can see, that is my budget. If you have any questions about how I budget or any of the questions about anything I have here, I will at the end of the year make a recap how much I spent for the 2023-2024 school year. But again, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If not, thank you for watching.